when it comes to Zebec, I want to talk about this, even though nothing I say is financial advice. But what do I mean by this, right? Well, it's not too long ago when it comes to Zebec, they were talking about their kind of review in Q3 of this year and talking about what they've done so far. Now, there's a bunch of information, but it's a little bit boring actually if I talked about all of it. However, something that I do want to highlight is how they're talking about compliance. Now, I feel like this is not such a cool thing sometimes that a lot of other projects talk about too much, like it's not such a popular topic, but I do like seeing that when it comes to Zebec because if they're focused on compliance, I must say that I'm a fan of that because let's just take a look at what Zebec has been able to accomplish so far. Like, for instance, we take a look at SOC2, they completed that. We take a look at MICA, or should I say MICA, it's completed. Now they're still in progress when it comes to FCA and as well as ISO. Now, when it comes to this, why do I like it? It's because other projects out there, they don't really care, but I like how they care about this type of stuff. They at least, again, care about the compliance. They're caring about these details, the way you take a look at it. Now, if they're able to do FCA, I think that's a good milestone, again, considering how they've already done SOC2 and as well as MICA. But if they're able to do ISO, or should I say ISO 20022, that's going to be pretty amazing hypothetically as well. Now, when are they going to do that? I mean, they don't say. There's no exact way to tell, but I still like how they're still even focused on that nonetheless. Now, if I take a look at, for instance, why is, let's say, right, working on this type of stuff pretty important? Well, it's because in order for sometimes a project to be really considered in this global trade and finance space and this payment space, sometimes people do want to see that aspect of ISO, or should I say ISO 20022. And again, Zebec hasn't been able to do that, but it's in progress. Other competitors, when it comes to Zebec, I feel like they're not really working towards this for whatever reason. I mean, who knows why they're not, but why are they not doing that, right? I mean, like, again, for a project sometimes to be kind of considered within that space, sometimes people do want to see that. Again, that ISO 20022 compliance. So when it comes to Zebec, I like what they're doing actually. It's like, for instance, right? If I want to get good at playing tennis, I'm probably going to have to practice. However, some other projects out there, they seem to not really care about this concept for whatever reason. Like, they just seem to not really care. They're like, okay, we have a project. Yeah, we don't really need to work on that. It's like, why? When it comes to Zebec, I like the effort that they're putting. Now, this at least, I think, indicates to me that the project isn't something that is being treated for fun. Because some other projects out there, I feel like it's being treated for fun. And sure, it may work for some, kind of meme coins and stuff like that. But when it comes to a project that's actually utility driven, I want to see them put some effort. I want to see them actually care about this type of stuff. And again, if we take a look at their CEO, Simon, he's still posting, right? He's still updating. Also, Zebec's still updating. I like what they're doing. And again, I think this month it could hypothetically be pretty okay in terms of Zebec's exposure because, they're going to be allegedly appearing in some NBA and as well as NHL games. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I do really like what I'm seeing overall. And when I just take a look at stuff like this, it's a little bit hard for me actually to give up when I see stuff, again, like this. Because if, let's say, Zebec wasn't updating, it wasn't doing anything, and then the price was having a pullback, then that's a different case. Then it's like, whoa, okay, I might probably not really want to believe it anymore. But even though, yeah, 10 cents is around a 32x from here, at least there's something for me to do, at least in terms of looking at something, all right? They're at least updating, and at least I can take a look at, okay, they're at least doing this. Now, keep in mind, my perspective is that no matter what Zebec is updating and all this type of stuff, the market's just going to do its thing. Like, if there's no altcoin season, whatever Zebec does, it's probably not going to matter that much, I think, in terms of the price. And in terms of fundamentals, it's a different case. But if, let's say, the market does do better, if, let's say, there's an altcoin season, this type of stuff is going to reflect well, I think, upon what Zebec did during a time when the market wasn't doing the best. I just want to use this as an example, right? Something called ICP, or should I say the Internet Computer. That not too long ago was around slightly below $3. Then we saw it exceed, $8, right? Now, here's the thing. It's having a slight pullback, but in my perspective, why did I think ICP do that? Well, it's because at least there was some effort there that was put in. Like, for instance, there's something called Dfinity when it comes to things regarding the Internet Computer. And what I find very impressive was that they kept working on the project. And I think kind of the biggest thing that's happened so far to them in terms of kind of the fundamentals is something called Caffeine AI, a self-writing apps platform, which, by the way, I don't think has the best adoption out there. I don't think it's anything necessarily that revolutionary, but just that alone was able to kind of have that sort of movement for ICP, or should I say kind of create that sort of, I think, movement, I guess, when it comes to the recovery, when it comes to ICP. If I kind of saw it here in a sense where if, let's say, there is an altcoin season, people take a look back that Zebec is still doing this, they're still working towards compliance, even at a time when the price wasn't doing the best when it comes to ZBCN, I think that right there could very well reflect, kind of greatly, I think, in terms of just the perception of it later on. But you know what? Only time will tell. It's like, for instance, right? I remember when I was in college and I was working a part-time job at a buffet, I remember I put a lot of effort, and sure, sometimes, the manager didn't look at it, but the coworkers noticed, and it just created a better environment overall because they were taking a look at me, for instance, and they're saying, oh, wow, this person isn't necessarily just being lazy like that. So then it just reflects, well, it just creates a better vibe overall. So it's kind of like that when it comes to Zebec. And personally for me, the way I take a look at it is that when it comes to what is my plan moving forward, what am I going to do? I mean, it's literally simple. It's literally just doing what I've been doing throughout this whole time. I'm just waiting. I'm still staying patient. But I like seeing what Zebec is trying to do in terms of its compliance. And I think that post right there that they made on X really showcase how, again, they haven't forgotten about that aspect. Because sometimes people could tell me, oh, you know what? Zebec is focused on too many things. They're focused on RWAs, or should I say real world assets. They're focused on payrolls. They're focused on, random nonsense. Like, for instance, some people like to say, oh, when Zebec joined the ARC testnet, which is, ARC is this layer one blockchain developed by Circle, the creator of USDC, they say, oh, that's kind of diverting the focus. They say that Zebec is focused on the cards. Oh, there's just too many things it's focused on. And then they say, oh, they're probably going to forget about compliance. But it doesn't seem like that to me. They just recently highlighted that when they were kind of reviewing what they did in Q3 of this year. So again, when it comes to Q4 of this year, I'm still looking forward to maybe what Zebec could do. Maybe, let's say, if there is that ISO 20022 compliance, I'd really like that. But if it has to wait until Q1 of 2026, you know what? It is what it is. That's the way I take a look at it. But in the meantime, I am still staying patient. 10 cents, still on my mind, even though it doesn't mean hypothetically it will happen, but I'm saying it's still on my mind. And when it comes to Zebec, the way I take a look at it is that what I find pretty fascinating is that, sure, it's not the most well-known project out there, but if we take a look at the space of payments and global trade and finance, usually the top players, like for instance in the case of XLM, the market cap is just very massive, right? But then I think Zebec, what I find interesting is that it's basically kind of like that a little bit, but not with the ISO 20022 aspect right now. However, again, they're working on it, but I'm saying, like, it's kind of a little bit similar in terms of the focus of the project, but then with a way lower market cap, and at the same time, I like the kind of vibe of Solana overall. So, yeah, I just overall haven't given up when it comes to this, because you know what? I could easily just say, yeah, you know what? I don't want to believe in ZBCN anymore. Totally aware of that. But at the same time, when I just take a look at stuff like this, it at least keeps me excited. So, overall, for me, I just don't want to give up, at least seeing what they've been doing in terms of the monthly volume report. I've been seeing consistently, right? Over the past couple of months, over 200 payroll enterprise clients when it comes to the payrolls. I just feel like in terms of fundamentals, they're still doing their thing. All I have to do right now is just wait and see what happens, but I don't think I've seen an altcoin season yet, so I'm still staying patient, holding, and just waiting, but I just wanted to make a video real quick and explain why I like what I'm seeing when it comes to Zebec's focus, when it comes to compliance. And I want to say thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be making updated videos on Zebec moving forward. It's only the captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.